Alright guys, time to give you some homework help for number 1, 3, and 6. So number 1 says write an equation to represent each function. So let me zoom in there. Remember, when you write an equation, when it's x, y, you will always want to start with y equals. Now to figure out what y equals, you've got to figure out what you're doing to the input number to get the output number. So when I do this, I also like to add another column and label that x, because this is going to help me with the rest of my equation. So I notice going from input to output that I can multiply each number by 6 to get the output. So by writing that here, it's going to help me when I get to the x, because it will be x times 6. Now if I can take that and write it for my equation, the second part, I'll have my answer. So y equals x times 6, which we write 6x. That's your equation. Remember, start with y equals and then figure out the rule. Okay. Let's go down to number 3 because we have to graph this. It says graph y equals x plus 4. Now, let me show you the tip for this. The tip is you are going to want to make an xy table here. So, I have x and I have y. And you are going to want to guess a few values. So you always want to start with easy numbers. So I'm going to start with 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now what I'm going to do in my equation is I'm going to substitute 0, 1, 2, and 3 in for x and see what my y is. So let me start with 0. If I put 0 plus 4, I get 4. So my y value will be 4. If I try 1, 1 plus 4 is 5. So my y value will be 5. Keep doing that with 2. 2 plus 4 is 6, and 3 plus 4 is 7. Now by doing that, I now have my ordered pairs. So think of this as 0, 4, 1, 5, etc. And I just have to graph them. So let me zoom in a little bit more, make this a little bit easier. Alright, so 0, 4, I go over 0, up 4, that's going to put a dot right there. Okay, 1, 5, go over 1, up 5, 2, 6, and 3, 7. And if you kept going in your table, it would keep going in a linear fashion like that. So that's all you have to do to graph these. Now don't be fooled by in 4 and 5 because they have decimals. Make an XY table, and you could use a calculator to do 2 times whatever x is plus 0.5. So don't let those decimals scare you. Last is number 6. Number 6, we'll read it and I'll show you what to do. It says the graph shows the charges for a health club in a month. Make a function table for the input-output values, then write an equation that can be used to find the total charge y and then for the number of classes x. So we have a couple things to do here. Thing 1, we have to make a function table from the graph. Then we have to write an equation. So let's go over and check out this graph. Now, down here, if you look, are my x values. So I see I have a value for 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I can already start with my table by writing 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now my output are a little tricky, because when I look at my output, which are the y values, it looks like at first it's probably 30, 40, going up by 10, right? You're like 30, 40, but if you notice that's a little less than 40, that's definitely less than 50, so it's not going up by 10. But then I tried 9. I thought, okay, maybe that's 30. That could be 39. Could that be 48? No, it looks a little too much in the middle. And that could not be 57 because it's less than 55. So my guess is these are probably going up by 8. So if this were 30, that could be 38. 38 plus 8 is 46, which would be a little higher than 45. And 46 plus 8, which would be 54, which is a little lower. So they look like they are going up by 8. So my values, if I were to write them here, let me get my pen a little smaller. That would be, it looks like a 38, or I'm sorry, a 30, 38, 46, and 54. So they are going to be my y values here. So I have 30, 38, 46, and 54. Okay, part 1 is done, but now I need to write an equation for this table. So remember what I said about equations. Start them with y equals. So it's going to be y equals something. And now we need to figure out the rule going from the input to the output. So this is now like problem 1, but it's going to be a little more complicated. So if I check multiplication, I'm thinking, all right, 0 times nothing is 30, because 0 times everything is 0. So maybe addition. 0 plus 30 is 30, 1 plus 30 is 31. So guess what? This is going to be one of those little more complicated equations. So it's going to be a two-stepper. We're going to have to multiply and then add or subtract. So to do that, remember, look at what the y values are going up by. Remember, they're going up by 8. Whenever they are going up by 8, we start our equation with x, 8 times x. But multiplying by 8 is only going to get us part of the way. We have to multiply by 8 and then add or subtract to get the rest of the way. So I'm going to zoom in really big here so you can see. So first I'm going to multiply all the x values by 8 and write those numbers down. So 0 times 8 is 0. 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. And 3 times 8 is 24. But now I need to see what I have to add to get the rest of the way. So I know to go from 0 to 30, it's plus 30. 8 plus 30 is 38. 16 plus 30 is 46. And 24 plus 30 is 54. So when I get the rest of my equation, get my pen ready again, I should have 8 times x plus 30. So that is my equation for number 6. All right, hope this helped with your homework, and ask me some more questions tomorrow if you are stuck. Thanks, guys.